Jonas asks, Star Wars Episode 1 through 3, Disgrace. Would you have any hope for the prod? I don't have any hopes for Lucas on anything else. He surprises me. It's a pleasant surprise. But I think he's too sold out and too concerned about toy sales to do anything worthwhile. Jonas also asks, D&D obviously isn't your favorite game system. What are your thoughts on it? I don't diss D&D completely. I What I don't like is that people think it's the be all and end all of systems. It's a 500-pound gorilla in the room, and I've never liked 500-pound gorillas in rooms. D20 is a very good system if you want to run epic fantasy, if you want to run kind of a Lord of the Rings sort of thing. That's what it was built for. It does it very well. D20 does not do any of the following well. It does not do hard science fiction, epic science fiction, low fantasy, dark fantasy, modern day cops and robbers, murder mysteries, espionage, steampunk, vampire, conspiracy games, pretty much anything but epic role play, epic fantasy role playing. I don't like the fact that because of that, D20 has become this thing that's kind of taken over the role playing industry. It's forcing itself into the market using this like open source thing, and it's driving out other better systems for other types of games. I think the quality of the role playing design art has really suffered because of D20. Because new game designers, rather than having to do the uphill battle of selling people on a new system like they used to, they just go to D20 because they can and because it has a base already established. This is really sapping the market, and system does matter. I mean, new systems make different systems make different kinds of story and encourage different types of behavior. Compared to 10 years ago, there's a lot less new systems out there. There's a lot less creativity, and there's a lot less groundbreaking. Really, D20 has kind of devolved role playing to a great extent, whereas gone back to being just kind of hack and slash Warcraft around a table sort of thing. Um, and if you ever say like, "Oh, the system doesn't matter. You can make whatever game you want despite the system." One, if that's true, what am I paying them for? I mean, if I don't need their system, and system does matter. In every single game, the rules determine how they're played. That's just true. A game is played in the way the rules dictate. There's no getting away from that fact, even in role-playing games. And I saw you mention D&D combat. It's all right. It's got a kind of unrealistic badassery feel to it. The fact of the matter is, though, if you want, it's not the best system for badassery. Feng Shui is great for badassery, and his combat's a lot more fun and a lot less clunky in it. Um, as far as unrealistic, if you're looking for better realism, pick up GURPS. It's rather brutal, and guns kill people in one shot in that game, as opposed to this. All that D&D seems to be really good at is fulfilling this kind of accounting clerk need that certain geeks have. It has a lot of numbers and things to get and clunky little bits. And if that's what you're going for, more power to you. But it's not particularly good at anything. It just kind of fulfills this little niche. Now, it's better than pure drama systems like Storyteller, but Storyteller was never intended as a combat game. And if you're running a World of Darkness game as combat heavy, you're either playing werewolf or you're doing it wrong. Which means, I guess, if you're playing werewolf, you're doing it wrong. Basically, D&D is all right at some things, mediocre at others, but it easily fulfills geek power fantasy, so it maintains its popularity. It's the lowest common denominator of role-playing games, and there's nothing wrong with that. James Bond action movies are the lowest common denominator of action flicks. There's some really great ones out there, but it's not particularly good. It's not like Pulp Fiction, or it's never going to win an Academy Award because it's the lowest common denominator. It scratches a certain niche, and it does that well. I play D&D. I enjoy D&D very, very much. I've had great times playing D&D. However, I also like apple pie. But if you fed me apple pie for a straight year, I'd get tired of it, and I'm getting tired of D&D. There's too much of it, and now everything's turning into D&D. So fuck it. Jonas asked, when it comes to comic relief in a serious setting, what do you think? People say funny things in serious situations all the time. That's what comic relief should be like. A really good example of comic relief in a serious setting is actually the TV show House. People crack jokes. The main characters are rather dubious and witty rogue, but the situation is serious, and the situation itself is never made light of in the comedy. Comic relief in a story serves the exact same purpose that laughter in real life does. It dampens pain and suffering. The pain and suffering doesn't go away, and you can't just, act goofy and expect to get away with it. But good comic relief leavens things up just enough so that the characters can get on with their lives. Jonas asked, have you played Vampire Redemption and Bloodlines, and what do you think of them? I was really impressed with Bloodlines. It was a really great conversion. It plays kind of hokey pokey with the rules, but that's okay. It's not going to convert perfectly over. It's a great intro into the vampire universe. They played a little bit fast and loose with the setting, but it's all right. I like it. The Malkavian playthrough was great. Vampire Redemption was 3D Diablo with vampires. I wasn't impressed. Jonas asked for me to go on about my favorite video games. There's way too many to count. I've been playing video games since 1988, so you can imagine how many favorites I have. I like all the truly great PC titles, Half-Life 1 and 2, Team Fortress 2, BioShock, Elder Scrolls, ones that pretty much everyone has heard of. So I'm not going to go into those, but I figured I might as well maybe encourage someone to pick up something they haven't before. As far as newer games, I really like Civilization 4. That's what I'm playing right now. Uplink was a really good one. Darwinia, that was another good one. You could get them off of Steam. Uplink's kind of a freaky garage program kind of game where you play a hacker. It's a lot of fun and got a cool little cyberpunk feel to it. The Hitman series is excellent. Many props to Thief for starting the sneaker genre, but Hitman is just way so much fun. I just love the fact that I got to a point in that game where I could walk in with nothing and steal a kitchen knife and complete everything without being seen. Spelunky, if you haven't heard of that one, is a really good game. It's a free download. It randomly generates levels. It's kind of a side-scrolling kind of cave story sort of game. Really great. I'll put a link to it over to the side. It's a must for anybody who had a Super Nintendo when they were a kid, and it's just a great little free game, indie game. I'm also a pretty avid retro gamer, so a couple of titles I really recommend for that if you want to go download DOSBox and play them. Master of Magic is a great strategy game. It was by the same guys who did Master of Orion, if you're familiar with that. It's another Civilization-style game, except for you play a powerful wizard who's battling other wizards with fantasy races and all that sort of stuff. It's got a very strong Civilization feel, but a lot of its own shit going on. It's really good. I still play it on my laptop when I'm on business trips. It's really great. Syndicate Wars is another great game. It's by Bullfrog back in the day. Great English design house that was bought by Activision a long time ago. Basic plot, you're a corporate overlord for this mega corporation who's commanding this elite cyborg troops on little missions against other mega corporations throughout the world. It's still very playable. It's very fun. It's this little squad combat game. I'm a big fan of the games I really got started off with were the adventure game, point-and-click adventure games like Sierra and LucasArts put out back in the day. And my two favorites from those two people respectively are Space Quest and all that entire series. I love the sense of humor it has. I just love the entire setup. I love Roger Wilco. This is the game I grew up with. Also, the Monkey Island series, which they recently re-released, one of them with updated graphics and all that. That is a really just fun game and doesn't take itself seriously at all.